I love when coaches, consultants, and professional service providers want to do big things in their business. They want to rise to the top and influence their market and the world around them. They want to have a greater impact and make a more lucrative income. Well, if this is you, welcome to Expert in You Podcast, the show where I interview other experts and coaches, consultants, so that they can share their success strategies with you. We're going to talk about marketing and how to close more sales, how to get more premium clients, and how to really build your visibility in the market and scale your business like a boss. If this is you, welcome to the show. I want to ask you to subscribe and hit the notification bell right now so you don't miss one episode. Grab your coffee and buckle up because we are ready to give it all to you to help you become the expert and get paid as the expert that you are. Hey everyone, I want to welcome you back to another episode of Expert in You Podcast. I'm your host, Carden, and I am so excited to have you back with me again this week. And I'm really excited about my guest, Bobby Umar, this week. And Bobby is doing some amazing things in the online world and even in the business world. He runs 3 companies. He has been featured on a TEDx stage as a speaker 5 times. That's impressive. He's a 3-time author and a #1 international best-selling author. I mean, the list goes on, but he has also been named one of the top 100 leadership speakers alongside with Richard Branson, Brene Brown, John Maxwell, Robin Sherwin, by Inc. Magazine. Did I say that? By Inc. Magazine.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Thank you.
And he also has over 500,000 followers on social media. He just has a lot going on. So I'm going to be quiet and let him tell more about who he is and what he does. But Bobby, welcome to my show.
Yeah, thanks. I'm happy to be here.
I am so happy to have you. You have just had so many great accomplishments, and I've been following you in the online world for a while. I think I first came across you actually maybe on Clubhouse, and then we connected on LinkedIn, and I just, I see all the great things you're doing out there, and I knew I had to have you as an expert guest. So, Bobby, tell everyone a little bit more about your business. You run 3 companies, so I don't know which one you really want to talk about, but just sort of give us an overview about you and who you are.
Sure. I mean, they'll integrate. I started out 15 years ago as a professional speaker. I've traveled around the world, done 1,000 keynotes across 4 continents. That's where the TEDx talk came to play. And over the years, I was known as a soft skill leadership guy. I started getting expertise in networking, which is what my first book was. And so I've talked a lot about meaningful relationships, authentic connection, networking, all that kind of stuff. But then later on, things evolved to another topic, which was personal branding, which became a very, very big topic. And it's still a topic of relevant today. I've been talking about personal branding for a long time, ran several conferences and events on it, and pretty soon started a second company on personal branding. So the first one was about the training, speaking, and coaching that I was doing. The second company was around personal branding. And then I think when the pandemic hit, the 2 companies were events-based and speaking-based. And of course, those industries collapsed and were devastated quite a bit. So I had to pivot. And I did 300 Zoom calls 2020 to figure out what people really want. And I started identifying a couple of trends. And one was that storytelling was something that everybody wanted to learn, whether it's for their digital content or whether it's for managers working with remote teams. They wanted to understand that. They wanted to connect better on a deeper level. Mm-hmm. The second thing that came up is that most people are looking at their thought leadership brand now. They're either pivoting, they're trying to ramp up, or they're trying to have a stronger digital presence, even in traditional industries like banking and insurance and investments, where they don't really do much on LinkedIn or other platforms. And they realize, this is now a hybrid. We have to have a really strong digital presence. So working on the thought leadership brand across storytelling, content, relationships, the whole gamut and platforms became a big piece of it. So I started doing more work on that, particularly in coaching and online programs. Mm-hmm. And then Clubhouse hit. Then I got involved in Clubhouse. I saw the potential there. And I see I saw the rise and then kind of the fall, and now it's kind of sorting itself out. But what I'm seeing now is social audio apps are here to stay. Whether it's Clubhouse, Twitter Spaces, Green Room, they are an incredible way to build community, to build trust, to create something really magical because of the whole democratized aspect of the audio conversation. And so I've invested heavily in that, and we started another company called Thought Leadership Branding. club. And it was initially focused on Clubhouse, but now we're looking at incorporating it in Twitter Spaces, as well as with helping people use social audio as part of their integrated brand strategy. Because at some point, LinkedIn audio will come, Facebook audio will come, and so helping people figure that stuff out is going to be a big piece. So that's kind of where I've been, and that's where I am right now.
Fantastic. No, I love it. One of the things that you're talking about is thought leadership. And let's talk about that just a little bit, because some people may not really understand what that actually means or even the importance of it. So can you go into a little bit more detail? We know it's a huge piece. You and I know it's a huge piece of building a personal brand. But for people that maybe haven't heard that term before or don't understand it, can you talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So, when you look at any sort of industry, there's always going to be people there that are sought out experts, people that everybody follows or wants to hear from, and they're driving the conversation of the industry. So, if you're in financial investments, people listen to Warren Buffett. If you're in music, people listen to what Adele and Beyonce do. When you are in entrepreneurship, everybody wants to hear what Gary Vaynerchuk has to say. If you're interested in vulnerability, you want to hear Brené Brown. So the idea is that whatever industry you're in, real estate, cybersecurity, it doesn't matter what you're in, there's always going to be people who are driving the conversation that are well known, and they're people that you follow. These are the thought leaders of the field. They're influencers, but they're also influencers with expertise. They're also people who are actually putting content out there. And so I define, when we look at the traits of these people, what I've seen is three things they do. So the three traits that we see, or criteria that we see from the thought leaders out there, are basically three things. Number one, people. They build broad relationships. They build deep relationships. They have lots of followers. Number two, they're innovating and creating new ideas and content to drive the conversation, to show their expertise, and to really stay ahead of the game. And number three, they're always focused on communication skills. So speaking, writing, storytelling, active listening, and that's a big part of their success. And so when you look at the best thought leaders out there, those three criteria is what they're working on. And when I work with thought leaders to build their brands, that's something that we need to focus on to help them get to that next level.
Perfect. No, that's a great description of everything. And why is this so important for people to build a personal brand? I've been teaching this for many, many years in marketing, and even working with businesses to really understand that, you might leave a company, for example, you might make a switch or make a pivot, but you are you, and you are going to be, you want your followers to go with you. But let's talk a little bit about a personal brand.
Yeah. So, when you think about your story, your legacy, your purpose, we look back, when you're 80 years old, the last 50 years, was it because, are you going to be excited about the fact that you stay with one company and help them make $1 billion? Most people aren't going to be thinking that. There have been at multiple companies. They may have gone entrepreneurship, and they may have causes that they believe in that they spend their time and energy on. So you have to think about that in those terms. The reason why personal branding is so important is for many reasons, but most people focus on the fact that personal branding allows you to stand out. It allows you to create impact. It allows you to be known. And so often I'll say, personal brands turn into thought leadership brands if you do the right steps. But the other thing I'll say is that personal branding as a tool, if you really dive deep into it and do the work, which most people don't, it actually provides you something even more powerful, which is clarity and focus and alignment. And that's where the magic is, because whether you're trying to launch your career or you ramp up your career, whether you're trying to ramp up your business or even come up with a digital marketing strategy, if you don't do the deep dive work on the personal brand, you're going to be 65% effective. If you do, and then it's going to fizzle in 3 months or 6 months or even like 3 years in your career. Like, oh gosh, I'm still not into what I'm doing. But if you actually do the work and dive deep into who you are and how you're perceived and do all that stuff, that whole discovery phase of personal branding versus the design phase, you either discover, design, or deliver your brand. So you discover first, then you design. Most of us are stuck in design, and we're designing the strategies, tactics, our marketing plan, all that kind of stuff, working with a coach or working with a mentor, but it's not enough. You got to do that really deep dive exploration. So when you do that, then you have 85-95% alignment. And that's when the magic happens, because your content is focused, is targeted. Your promotional strategy is focused and targeted. And that's when the magic happens for people. And now that we're, in a hybrid model of how virtual and in person, we have to be able to develop both of them to a solid level, no matter where you are, whether you're in a corporate world to develop opportunities or even business leads for your division, or whether you're an entrepreneur to, generate interest around who you are and what you're doing and create that impact that you want.
Oh, that's perfect. I mean, it really is a necessity. And I think it's a missing piece for a lot of people. And you mentioned banking and some of the people that you work with, it hasn't been something that they've maybe done before. And so it's all very new for them. And even the digital world, I think the pandemic has definitely, it's been great for people like you and I that are online and we do so much online. I think it's so great for us because now people are seeing the importance of it, and it's becoming even more important, for people to really build their businesses, have those opportunities. You even being a speaker on a TEDx stage 5 times and with all of your accomplishments that you've had, all of those things are part of your personal brand, but they also bring you new opportunities. When I looked at everything Bobby does, I said, I know I have to have him on my show. And this is exactly why a strong personal brand, being a thought leader, all of these things are so important because it literally attracts the opportunities to you. Is that?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, having a strong thought leadership brand brings all the opportunities. You want to get more speaking gigs, you want to get on podcasts, you want to write a book, you want to get media appearances, you want to get job offers, you want to get people reaching out to you, like all that, and you want to build greater trust. Developing and building your thought leadership brand that way is exactly what happens, and it just has a spiral effect. And so that's why I'm very heavy and big on advocating for everybody to turn their personal brands into thought leadership brands.
I love it. And we've never had this opportunity before, social media really, to build brands like we do today. And I think it's just an incredible opportunity to be seen, to be known, to be heard more than any other time in history. And you can do it without a lot of marketing spend, without a lot of dollars spent.
Yeah.
You can, again, it's just the connections that you can make are just amazing. But if you don't look like you have much going on, or you don't look like you know what you're doing, those connections are few and far between. So it makes such a difference in that way as well. So let's talk about some of the things that you do in your business to help people. So you said you work with C-suite executives, people in banking, IT, financial services to help them build up their brand online. What are some ways that people can work with you, Bobby?
I spread myself quite a lot, but I mean, the general thing is, people can either take my online program. So I have one on personal branding. I have one on TEDx Talks. I have one on storytelling. There's that. But there's 2 different sides of what I do. One is the corporate training and professional speaking space. So I'll go into companies, usually with seasoned execs, VPs and things like that, because they don't know how to use LinkedIn. They don't know how to integrate Twitter. They're trying to figure this stuff out with the digital landscape. So I will do stuff on LinkedIn or storytelling, content creation, relationship building, sales navigator, things like that to help them figure that out. So that I target all the industries like tech, insurance, IT to try to help them do it, although I could do it for any industry. So that's the corporate training side. The second piece is the coaching piece where, I have a company page on LinkedIn where I talk about the coaching. So this is where people who want to pivot or they want to transition or they want to ramp up. And so they will either do one-on-one coaching with me or they'll take my group coaching programs, one or the other. It depends what they want. So some people want to work with group coaching. Some people want to go with a one-on-one for more customized focus. But those are probably the 2 areas in which I spend most of my time. And then I think probably a lot of people just want, there's coaching and there's consulting and there's coachelting. So I think I'm more of a coacheltant. Like I tell people what to do based on
Me
what
too.
I know about them. Yeah. Like I'm the wind beneath your wings, but I'm helping you to fly. But I'm not waiting for you to figure it out for 6 months. I want to help people get there right away. So I think I'm more of a consultant or coacheltant, which I like to call it. So those are the ways in which people work with me, and I help them get that. Everyone has different things they want. I mean, some people have individual needs, like for example, TEDx Talks. I'm working with a client who wants to get a TEDx Talk. So okay, we're going through one-on-one coaching to do that. Someone else wants to get more confidence as speaker, so I work with them on the confidence speaking. But for the most part, I think most people want to. I look at it. It's always wrapped under the thought leadership brand. Right. So if you want to build a thought leadership brand, right, what are the things you need to do? So if you want to hit that mash flow thought leadership brand, you need to work on all the skills that thought leaders have. So one would be speaking, one would be content creation, one would be mindset and confidence. Another one would be storytelling. Another one would be leveraging LinkedIn platforms and things like that. And then the other group are people who really want to take, who are already doing pretty good, but they're trying to figure out how to get that next level, that grandmaster level, as they call it. And that's where they're not only doing all that stuff really, really well, but now they're integrated across multiple platforms. So, for me, I integrate across LinkedIn, Clubhouse, Twitter, and Instagram. Other people might do it in other ways. And so for me, helping those people go to get that grandmaster level, that's another thing that I try to do as well.
That's awesome. Hey, let's talk about how you build such a big following on social media. So over 500,000 followers, I think you said.
Well, it's grown since then. I think it's around 650,000. But yeah, okay. But how have I grown it? Well, the general thing is, always putting out great content really works. Being very responsive to different platforms. I first grew on Twitter. That kind of, went really fast and got to a really high level. And then, you also have to evolve as things go. So, I had Twitter, got to around 400,000 something followers, and then I moved my efforts into LinkedIn because I thought LinkedIn was the next place to be, and it was. And now LinkedIn is around 66,000, and that's on my company page and profile page. But then, Clubhouse came along. It's like, oh, okay, you know what? And then Instagram. So now, Clubhouse had built it up to 12,000 following me, and then almost 19,000 following my Thought Leadership Brand Club on that platform. And then Instagram now is at 16,000. So there's a little bit of there, but my focus has always been LinkedIn is now the primary place where I spend my time. It all comes down to, again, building great relationships. It comes down to having kick-ass content, work with influencers, and learning the trends that's going to help you grow, whether it's hashtag trends or algorithm trends or, just like social audio, for example. That's a trend, and I'm running with it.
So you've given such great information here. One of the things, though, is it's important to really get established on one platform. Build that up. You mentioned Twitter was your first, and then you layer on. A lot of people try to do everything all at one time, and that gets pretty crazy and very hectic. And a lot of times you don't really get traction. How are you using Clubhouse? Let's talk about that. I haven't really talked a lot about Clubhouse on my podcast, but I'm like you. I love the audio part of it. I love being able to connect with people and have those conversations. How are you leveraging Clubhouse and using that in your business?
Yeah. So, and I did a post just today on LinkedIn specifically about how Clubhouse and Twitter Spaces are doing better for me for monetization versus just LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn is my primary place. So 80% of my time is on LinkedIn. The other 20% I use to integrate LinkedIn with everything else I'm doing. But with social audio, I'm now hosting weekly spaces on Clubhouse, weekly space on Twitter Spaces. And what I can tell you is that LinkedIn is my tool for demonstrating my thought leadership and sharing my expertise with my content, my comments, things like that. It's for strategic networking with people. But bringing them to Clubhouse or Twitter Spaces is the way to go because that's where we deepen the relationship. The real power of social audio, people don't realize this, is that, you could do a live stream on LinkedIn, you could do a podcast, but the challenge is that people will comment or reply, but it's me and a bunch of people out there, and they can't really engage as much. On a live stream, they can comment and stuff, and you can engage a little bit, but it's not the same. Whereas this is democratized podcasting. Everyone gets a voice, everyone's on stage. And so what I find is that you build incredible trust really quickly. Within one or two sessions or hour-long sessions, I build incredible trust. And one of the things I mentioned in my LinkedIn post today was that with LinkedIn, I did it. I run my 5-day Thought Leadership Brand Challenge every 2 months, and so I promoted on LinkedIn by doing 2 posts on my profile page, 4 posts on my company page, a live stream. I did an event and I invited 5,000 people, of which 200 said yes to the email invitation. That I then sent emails to those people 5 times before the event started, and I got, how many people? 6 people bought in, right? But then on Clubhouse and Twitter Spaces, I did 2 random 1-hour rooms on Clubhouse just before the week before the event, and then I did 2 random ones on Twitter Spaces for 90 minutes each. And with that, I got 11 people to sign up for the program. And then afterwards, one of those people decided to work with me afterwards. And so the amount of revenue I generated from those 5 hours on audio versus the 23 hours on LinkedIn, there's no comparison. It was 10 times the amount of revenue that I got. And so for me, this is why, to me, social audio was the new story. When stories hit on Snapchat and on Instagram, and then Twitter and LinkedIn tried it, Facebook, of course, it was the hottest thing to show behind the scenes and build that personality and get great business results. But now, to me, social audio is the new stories, and it's the way for you to build that trust, to build that connection where people are more willing to invest in you and, pay that small amount to go to one of your workshops and then show up and maybe work with you even more. So I'm fully invested, and now I'm training people in our club to do the exact same thing.
Oh, I love it. No, that's great. So can I ask you, when you're doing Clubhouse, some of the things that people have said is they're finding that a lot of people that are on Clubhouse are there to just get free, to learn free, low ticket buyers. Are you finding that, Bobby, or is that not true?
No, it's not true. I mean, it's just like this. Like, the way I see it, it's content. So we have people who are doing live streams on LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. It's free. People are sharing content on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. It's free. Mm-hmm. People are doing blog posts, which is free. I now have a newsletter on LinkedIn. That's free. Mm-hmm. So we're doing content all the time. We're also hosting audio spaces in Twitter Spaces, and that's also free. The truth is, people are doing TikTok videos for free. But the key is, how do you then turn that into a monetization piece? So we're all doing content for free. I have, people could go to my YouTube channel and look at all the videos I've done, even when I repurpose them, but they're all there. Mm-hmm. But the truth is, people, they forget things, and you can repurpose content. And so these are all this type of content that we're doing. Gary Vaynerchuk and Brandon Brown do it. It's all free. But the idea is to build trust, mm-hmm. to give value, and then eventually people will seek you out. And what I can tell you is that the way the Clubhouse has evolved is the same way that LinkedIn groups and Facebook groups have evolved. Like, eventually people, all the good stuff is, it's gone. Or sorry, all the bad stuff is gone, what I meant. And the good people start to stand. There's still crappy rooms, there's still crappy content, mm-hmm. but you filter through that stuff and find the really good stuff. And when you find a great newsletter or a great live stream or a great Clubhouse stream or a Twitter space you want to be part of, you're there every week and you love it. And so that's really what we're doing. I think a lot of people are like, I don't want to invest in Clubhouse Twitter space, but I don't think they understand. Like, how much time you spent putting on mm-hmm. your posts on LinkedIn? How much time was it for your newsletter? Like, this is all stuff we do for free to create content. The idea is put your money and time where you're going to get the most impact for what you're trying to do. So for me, integrating it all is the way to go.
No, that's great information. Those are great points as well. And I think it's important to know how to utilize the different platforms. So I really love that we're actually having a conversation around this. So what's your favorite platform, Bobby?
What's my favorite platform? Well, it depends what it is. Like, for what? I mean, a lot of people diss Facebook, but the truth is Facebook has all my family and friends on it. And, mm-hmm. We have really powerful discussion. Like, the other day I did a discussion on the fact that we were thinking about going to Disney World, and I was worried about, travel restrictions and all that kind of stuff. So, anyone got any thoughts or advice? And, like 30 of my friends all commented and gave me great advice on that. So I go on Facebook also to talk about the social issues of the day. And so for me, and what I love about it is you have these really deep conversations that go as far as possible, because people are commenting, replying, and I think you can exhaust a topic. And so I love Facebook for the social aspect. I'm not there anymore as much as I used to. I love LinkedIn because now that's where my biggest connections are that I've known mm-hmm. for a while. And so I love that. I love Clubhouse now because, I have some of these deep personal conversations with people that are just amazing. Some of the deepest, darkest, vulnerable stuff that's just amazing. And we're all there and we're all sharing together. I mean, it's hard for me to pick one. I mean, I certainly like the more interaction it is, the better in my mind. But it's hard to, nothing replaces the in-person thing. But I mean, for me, I love them all for different reasons. I mean, Twitter I love because there's just so much information available that you can find and get inspired by. It's very easy to see it. So they all have different things. But like if I had to pick my favorite thing in the world, I would rather be on Facebook looking at people's babies and marriage pictures because during these times, like that's the stuff I need. And but that's divisive. Everything's divisive. There was bullying, cyberbullying on LinkedIn just the other day, which I talked about. And there's the Twitter's divisive, and Facebook is divisive too. But if you curate the right people,
Sure.
people on Facebook, they're just my friends. The people I know, the ones who are crazy or whatever, I've let them go. So now we have these, I see all these beautiful pictures of people. That's how I stay in touch. I see their babies, I see their birthdays, I see their wedding anniversaries. Like that's the stuff that really fills my heart the most.
Yeah, I love it. Such great information. And I know that we could talk about this all day long for sure. But so give us 3 great tips that people can use to build their brand.
All right. So the 3 great tips that you can use to really build your thought leadership brand and make that impact you want in your life. So number 1, commit to the process. Most people don't want to do the work because it's work. And it's hard. It's just like, trying to lose weight. I mean, you got to do the work to
yes,
lose weight.
consistency.
Yeah. And so I think most people don't want to invest the time and energy to do that. So, the question I always say is, are you willing to invest $100 of your time for 500,000 hours of fulfillment, joy, happiness, and impact? And if you are, then do the work and invest the time into doing the personal brand stuff for that clarity, that purpose, that direction, that impact, that legacy, that story. That's what you want. So, I think that to me is the first piece. The second thing I'll say, of course, is getting a coach or getting the systems you need to get there. In order to get there, what I've determined is that people need to not only have a coach, but they also need to have a community of support that helps them get to where they want to go. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, you throw in the accountability, the consistency, the tools, the resources, the knowledge. That certainly helps. But having a coach and having a community adds to that opportunity to get that next level. So, when I do thought leadership brand programs, I do group coaching and individual coaching. When I do, Clubhouse stuff, it's, there's a community and there's also coaching. So to me, getting the coach, for accountability, for 10xing results, the community for support and getting feedback and things like that's far more incredible than people actually realize. And then I think the third biggest thing really is to, work on mindset. We have mindset issues about our profiles. We have mindset issues about my headline. We have mindset issues about the content. Should I do video? I don't know if I should speak up. But if you can work on that mindset and really deal with some of the emotional pains that are holding us back. I was talking to somebody who was like a really prolific speaker, a fantastic trainer, really knowledgeable, got several books out there, does nothing on social media because he feels shy. And it's like, why? Let's dive deep into it. And he had all these things. But I don't want to talk about the vulnerability you do, Bobby. I'm like, well, I didn't say you have to talk about the things I talk about. Mm-hmm. I'm very good at vulnerable storytelling, but you can just talk about something when you were in like high school and something silly you did and what you learned from it. Would that bother you? Like, no, I guess that wouldn't bother me. There you go. That's mindset. And so if you can actually work on the mindset, that's going to actually help you get to a much better level across everything: content, relationship building, you name it.
That's so true. I mean, it is really hard to put yourself out there at first on social media. I think everyone kind of struggles with that at first. But again, if you're going to build a business, and especially if you're going to do it online, you have to do it. So how many hours a day, Bobby, do you spend on social media?
Well, I mean, daily, it's hard to say. I would probably want to make it more of a weekly thing. Some days, not much at all. I mean, I always spend time on social media. So, minimally, I think there's at least an hour and a half for sure. Because especially during the pandemic, I'm home. And so for me, I'm 100% flaming extrovert, according to Myers-Briggs ENFP, right? And so I need that social boost to just get me going. So to me, that's a big part of what I do. So I think that's important. Every day I'm on every day, mostly, except on weekends. Like sometimes, I'm a social guy, 100% extrovert, ENFP, I'm a flaming extrovert. So I need to get that social thing. So I'll definitely go on, check out Facebook, go on LinkedIn, do a post, things like that. So I have that for sure. Check out babies and check out wedding pictures and whatnot. So that fills my heart, and I start working. During certain time periods of time when I have a big program coming up, or when Clubhouse came, I was putting a lot of hours, but I try really hard to build a foundation so I can scale back on that. But I typically, on a weekly basis, I allocate about 15 hours a week for it. But that's because I'm a social media guy and a bit of an influencer, and so
you enjoy it, yes.
And I enjoy it. So for me, I have to put more time into it. It's part of my message. But other people that I work with, they can do 5-6 hours a week if they want. I mean, you can still be very effective depending on what you do and how you do it.
Mhm.
And then on weekends, I'm pretty good about not being online at all. At some point I'll hang with the kids, we'll have breakfast, and then at some point I might check Facebook, I might do LinkedIn, but it's not a big priority for me to do so. But certainly social media is something that is 7 days a week for me personally. And I remember one time I went on a cruise and we had no Wi-Fi, and so it was like 2 days of nothing.
Oh, withdrawals.
Yeah, a little bit, and then eventually, you know what? Let's let it go. Let's just be in the moment. Let's enjoy this, and and I think that I realized that you do that once in a while. Just detox, like the summer I detoxed. I went to camping, just wasn't online, and so I love that kind of stuff too.
Mm-hmm. Well, this has been so great. You have shared such great information and just so much value. How can people get a hold of you, Bobby? And by the way, we will put all of your links and everything in the show notes, but how can people reach you?
Sure. So, I mean, I have my website is rayallen.com and my other one's called dypb.ca. But, when it comes to social media across all the platforms, Instagram, Clubhouse, LinkedIn, all the different ones, my handle is Rayhan Bobby. And you can follow my company page on LinkedIn for all my programs and coaching stuff that I talk about. So, but I'm everywhere. You can Google me and just feel free to reach out anytime or check out my work.
And you can just hear how knowledgeable he is. And I think I ended up in one of Bobby's Clubhouse rooms at one point, and that was where then I went and connected with you on LinkedIn because I was so impressed with everything that
Thanks.
you were doing and everything that you were saying. So definitely an expert, and that's who we interview here. So Bobby, this has been so much fun, and I apologize for the coffee and getting over this flu that I've had. And you have been gracious, and it's been so fun having you on. So I appreciate you so much.
Thanks, Anna. I really appreciate being here.
You are welcome. Well, everyone, thank you so much for being with us for another episode. And if you need help with your personal brand, if you need help becoming a thought leader, Bobby has a great program out there, and he is definitely an expert in his field. So go check him out, go connect with him, become one of his 651,000 followers. And I know you'll get so much value from him. So thank you for being here again. And until next time, you all have an amazing day. God bless you. Bye-bye.
If you've enjoyed this episode, I want to invite you to go check out a free training that I have at expertinu.us. It is a training that I have on how you can get ultra premium dream clients, scale your business, get more freedom, and really simplify your business and multiply your money. So go check that out. And again, that is expertinu.us. I want to thank you for being here with me this week. I hope you found massive value. Please always leave a comment, feedback, or a question. We check them all. And I want you to go rock your business, and make sure you join us again next week. God bless you. Have an amazing day.